What's up, everybody? Demon back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing the Godzilla-Thon. This is Godzilla-Thon episode. I literally just had the number pulled up. What's up, everybody? Demon back. Welcome to a brand new video. This is going to be doing the Godzilla-Thon. Godzilla-Thon episode 16. This one's going to be for Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. I love this movie. I just want to say, this movie is this is the best of the late Showa series, for sure. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, say the Terror of Mechagodzilla is the best because it brings Godzilla back to more dark, kind of rooted, more allegorical standpoint that Honda was pushing. I disagree. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Terror of Mechagodzilla. I'm a fan of the music, but as you guys will find out in the next few days when I post that review, I'm not really big on that movie. So, this movie, though, I freaking love this movie. Anyways, I'm not going to really waste any more of your time. I'm just going to get into this. I will be reviewing the English cut of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1974. Let's get into it. Strange activity, including an explosion in a mountain, has Anguirus very upset. We get into our opening credits. There's a woman, a descendant of the royal family of the Azumis. She lives in Okinawa. Has a vision of King Ghidorah, of all things. I don't know why she has a vision of King Ghidorah, but she does. She pictures him blowing up a city with his lightning. This is just some stock footage from, presumably, I think it's from Invasion of Astro Monster. Could be from Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. I'm not quite sure. But she definitely has a vision of some stock footage of Ghidorah for no reason. She says the monster will kill everyone in the city, trample on the people that try to run away. Tizumi, our main character, investigates a cave, finds some sort of strange prophecy, including a mountain in the sky, two suns. Bad things will happen when all of these prophecies come true. We hear of the protector, King Caesar. He's actually... one thing that I really love about this movie, even as a little kid I liked it, is the fact that they set King Caesar up so early into the movie. So they set him up almost in like the third or second scene. They start setting up King Caesar, and although I don't think there's great payoff to it anymore, as a kid I used to love King Caesar, I do appreciate the fact that he doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's not like a third act monster where, you know, you're getting into it and then all of a sudden Doomsday shows up and there's no setup for it, but now Batman and Superman have to fight him. Nothing like that. It's more of, they definitely set up King Caesar from like scene 3, and so then throughout the whole rest of the movie, you're waiting for this guy to show up. Good on the writers, alright? They did good. Also, this is the same guy who directed Godzilla vs. Gigan. He's directed quite a few Godzilla movies up to this point. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's probably the second best Godzilla director of the Showa series, and I know some of you guys might be like, well, freaking duh, because, like, there's not tons of directors for the Showa series. You basically have Honda and this guy. And I do apologize. I can't believe his name. I can't remember it, but I can't. So, this is by far his best work, or at least my favorite work of his. We also have Masaru Sato coming back for the score, and this is also my favorite score of his. I'm not sure if the director of this movie ever went on to direct any more Godzilla movies, but I know, later on we'll get some really great Godzilla movies that are not directed by Honda, not directed by this guy. They're just good ones with other directors, including Shin Godzilla. So, getting back to this movie, they set King Caesar up really early on. A black mountain appears in the form of clouds. It appears in the sky. So then they say, uh-oh, the start of the prophecy is coming true. We hear that a red moon will rise and the sun will set in the west. Two monsters appear when this happens, and they will defend against the first monster that will show up at some point and start destroying things. Now we have Professor Miyajima, aka Kira, aka Akihiko Harata. So okay, so this is the same guy who played Sarazawa. Don't get the professors confused. He will also go on to play another professor in the following movie, but Actually, I think this character is a decent character. I don't like what happens to him in the end of the movie, as we'll talk about, but I certainly like the actor, even though I always want to pronounce his name wrong. I certainly like the actor, and he played Serizawa, the best character in any Godzilla movie ever. So I think it's great to see him back. He is investigating the strange space titanium. We are introduced to Professor Waruga. Oh, geez, I don't know what that name is. Wagura. Oh, geez, I just said it like the same way twice. I'm not going to bother with his name. I'll call him Professor Number 2. He is played by Hiroshi Koizumi, aka he was an actor from Godzilla Raids Again. He's been in many Godzilla movies leading up to this point. He's also another one of the Toho returning actors for this movie, which is kind of good because when you watch the second half of the Showa series, there's not many returning actors, so the ones that are there, it's really nice to see. And I think this movie does balance. You have a whole bunch of new cast, you have some old returning faces, people from, I think the main character in this movie, whatever his name is, Tamizu, he was in previous Godzilla movies as well. I can't pinpoint which ones he was in off the top of my head, but he's definitely been in other Godzilla movies before. And then I think it's great because we get to see a lot of these returning Toho actors, and we don't really get that a lot in the second half of the Showa series. We mostly get no names that just show up, are in the movie for one movie, like Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster / Godzilla vs. Hedra. All these actors show up, you don't know who they are, you don't recognize them, and then they never show up again, whereas previously you used to have returning actors from like King Kong vs. Godzilla, they would show up in Mothra vs. Godzilla, they would show up in Ghidra, and all this stuff. There was even reoccurring characters at points with Mirai. So I definitely think it is a noticeable lack in quality in the second half of the Showa series, as we've talked about recently with these reviews. They were definitely not in the best place to be making these movies. They were going bankrupt and everything. This was their last-ditch attempt to save their company, and you can tell with the lack of quality, and that includes the lack of returning memorable faces. So it is good to see these guys return, and even as a little kid, I always loved seeing these guys back. I didn't understand why they were always being reused all the time as a little kid. You just kind of accept it, and you're like, oh, I recognize him. I used to always just think it was really cool to notice these actors from previous movies, even though I would never be able to figure out if Serizawa was in any movies, because I couldn't recognize him without the eye patch. I could recognize him as the same actor in Sea Monster, but that's because he had an eye patch. I never was able to figure that one out as a little kid. I don't know why. So, this Professor Number 2, he's attacked during the night. Tamizu tries to beat up the attacker. Tamizu gets beaten up. They send the attacker running. The attacker was there trying to steal the statue of King Caesar that was found in the beginning of the movie. Tamizu has it. A volcano erupts. Out of it comes Godzilla. That's a great scene. So as a little kid, I was always looking forward to this one too, because this movie, I just love this movie. It is so fun. It's a kid's movie in the best kind of way. And as a little kid, like, I would be sitting there, like, on the edge of my seat just waiting, because I knew this volcano, Mount Fuji, is going to explode. Godzilla's going to come out of it. He'll destroy some stuff, and the movie will progress from there. So that's exactly what happens. Mountain erupts, Godzilla comes out. Anguirus shows up, fights Godzilla. It's a great fight. He's jumping around, scratching some flesh off of Godzilla, revealing some metal underneath. Obviously, as you know, this is Mechagodzilla in disguise under the human flesh, same way the Terminators are, robot underneath human flesh, so it's pretty cool to see that. I shouldn't say Mechagodzilla is a robot under human flesh, he's a robot under Godzilla flesh. That's more accurate. Now, I think it's a great fight that these two have too, because first of all, it's cool to see Anguirus back. He was in Godzilla vs. Gigan, and I love the fact that they even point out, Tamizu even points out, he's like, hey, why are these guys fighting? Last 2 movies ago, they were just best friends. I think that's great. It's a great carryover from previous films. And Anguirus and Godzilla will go on to work together again in Destroy All Monsters. So, Anguirus, he shows up, he gets the crap kicked out of him, he's kicked into bridges, he's just thrown through the air. At one point, Mechagodzilla beats in his head, basically, and then rips his jaw open, King Kong style. That is a great Easter egg to King Kong in the era before Easter eggs were a big, huge thing that people did all the time. So it is awesome to see that in this movie. What else? I don't really know. Where am I in my notes? Sorry, this is like, I don't usually do this. I'm usually staring at my notes, but I'm not this time. All right, so Mechagodzilla breaks Anguirus' jaw. Space titanium is found at the battlegrounds. Another great thing where Tamizu's investigating. He's like, hey, I know this stuff. This is space titanium. Godzilla destroys this factory. He has a new roar. He also has yellow atomic breath. Obviously, it's a mislead. It's not Godzilla. Suddenly, a second Godzilla shows up, bursting out of a warehouse. That always confused me as a kid. First of all, what is Godzilla doing in that warehouse? Second of all, how does he fit in there, alright? He kind of just like pops up, his head pops out, and then the whole thing breaks around him because he's so dang big. How'd he fit in there? I don't know, but I always loved this as a little kid of having Godzilla destroy a factory and then the real Godzilla to show up and take him on, and it's a real Godzilla versus Godzilla fight here. They're just kind of blasting each other with atomic breath. You even have that alien leader go, I didn't expect a real Godzilla to show up so quickly. And then Mechagodzilla reveals himself as Mechagodzilla. Great reveal scene. He has all sorts of crazy weapons. He unloads on Godzilla. The two of them get into one of those beam battles that you always get in video games where the two beams hit each other and they kind of collide and they're like equal out. Only one can win. Huge explosion. Mechagodzilla is damaged. Godzilla goes flying into the ocean. He's bleeding. You just see the blood just rise out of the water. So much blood in this movie. So this Godzilla is the real Godzilla. Has the original roar, standard blue atomic breath. And there you go. So as a little kid, this was my favorite scene in the movie. I personally nowadays I love the ending fight of this movie, but as a little kid, I always thought it was great to see this just awesome reveal of Mechagodzilla turning into Godzilla. I don't know why. It's a cool scene, but definitely the end of the movie is just so crazy that you just cannot watch that without falling in love with it. And the pyrotechnics on this movie, they must have just been like, well, we're going bankrupt anyways, like, I guess if we're going to pour some money into a Godzilla movie, let's pour some money into explosives. Because when you watch this movie, there's explosives going off everywhere. Like, Mechagodzilla at one point turns his hand, he just fires off his finger missiles into the... This isn't in this scene, actually. This is in the final battle. But he's just blowing stuff up that doesn't even relate to the fight. He is just blowing everything up. It is just a crazy, crazy thing. I love it. So many explosions in this movie. It's awesome. Mechagodzilla. So he's damaged. And then he has to go in for repairs. So Tamizu and the archaeologist chick that he has at the start of the movie, that he meets her at the start of the movie, they go on a cruise to Okinawa because they're trying to avoid being tracked. Miyajima investigates a cave so he investigates the cave where the original bit of space titanium was found, because he's like, I'm sure we'll find more answers there about how there's a Mechagodzilla. So they go there and he's investigating. He's soon captured by aliens. Alright, so this is the same cave that leads to Mechagodzilla's controller, by the way. Obviously, if he's captured by aliens. So the aliens are from the third planet from the black hole. That's an awesome title. Third planet from the black hole. So they use Miyajima to build a Mechagodzilla a new control, so they repair Mechagodzilla with him. When his daughter... so Miyajima agrees. When his daughter and Tamizu's brother are kidnapped, they're taken into the execution room. So Tamizu agrees to build Mechagodzilla again, which is weird, because you'd think the people who built Mechagodzilla, the aliens who built him in the first place, would be like, alright, let's just rebuild him. They do it in the next movie. But also, don't they need help in the next movie too? I haven't watched Terror of Mechagodzilla yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what they require help from, is I think they're like, oh, we need help. Professor, what's-his-face from that movie? We'll get there. Next episode, and I don't remember his name either. Jeez, I usually do. I don't know how I don't remember his name right now. I'm gonna remember it in like 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that's what his name was. But by then it'll be too late and not relevant anymore. So, I just find it weird. Why do they need a human to build Mechagodzilla New Control? I don't understand that at all. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me. It never did. It still doesn't, and it never will. It's just weird. They're like, use that knowledge that got you the Nobel Prize. And it's like, shouldn't you know how to do this? Like, how am I supposed to do this? Like, this is space technology. Humans are not even close to this. So, like, how do you expect me to do this? That's what I'd be asking him. Anyways, he's able to do it somehow. So this is another scene that I loved as a little kid. Godzilla is struck by lightning like a ton of times. As a little kid, I don't know why I always thought it was great. It's just a really cool scene to see him just get blasted repeatedly by lightning. It's also kind of odd. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it leads to a new ability. The new ability doesn't make any sense. We'll talk about it at the end of the video, but it does, like, at the end of the movie. Doesn't make any sense at all. Like, it just comes out of nowhere. But they set it up here by having him get struck by lightning. This Godzilla has already been established to be vulnerable to lightning. King Ghidorah works on him. Mothra vs. Godzilla, for whatever reason, it didn't work on him there, but it works on him in King Kong vs. Godzilla. Typically, this Godzilla, I know it's very inconsistent with this Godzilla, because the 54 Godzilla was not vulnerable to electricity. But then the Godzilla that shows up from Raids Again Tell Terror of Mechagodzilla, he is resistant to electricity for the most part. Man, Mothra vs. Godzilla, he's not hurt by it. King Kong vs. Godzilla, he's hurt by it. They use it on him a couple times. King Ghidorah, it hurts him. They definitely use it on him a couple times. And then here, all of a sudden, he's struck by lightning and he doesn't really notice it. He just kind of like roars, I guess, because he's gaining new powers or something. It's super inconsistent. It's weird. As a little kid, I just used to love seeing Godzilla get struck by lightning like this. And the way his body turns all blue as it ripples throughout him, it's great. I still find it very entertaining. It doesn't make any sense, but it's very entertaining. Like, why is he getting struck by lightning? That's what I want to know. And how does that lead to a new power? It doesn't make any sense. Don't question it. I guess it's a weird, goofy movie, so I guess we shouldn't question it. The same man from earlier who tries to steal the King Caesar statue and gets chased off shows up again to steal the King Caesar statue. This time it works. He's stabbed in the face, turned into a space ape, and then he is shot in the face or the back of the head. He falls off the cruise with the statue. Then it's revealed that the real statue was in a safe the whole time. The real statue is returned to our main characters as they make it to Okinawa from finishing their cruise. As a little kid, I also used to love that with the green-faced aliens. It was awesome to see, like, it's almost like a Planet of the Apes kind of situation. I was just used to love seeing that as a little kid. These green space apes was really cool. So the professor repairs Mechagodzilla and is thrown into the execution room. This is Professor... what's-his-face? This is Professor Miyajima. Not the other professor who showed up for a little bit and then was not seen for the rest of the movie. Now, Tamizu is captured but saved by Interpol agents, or an Interpol agent that's kind of been trailing him the whole movie. It's a great reveal when he shows up. He kills all these aliens, and then they're like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm from Interpol." As a little kid, I was always like, what is Interpol? I guess as a little kid, I just accepted that it was like the Men in Black. As I got older, I kind of realized it's a lot lamer than that. It's almost like an international lame version of the police. That's really all there is to it. Like, Interpol is nothing special. So Tamizu and Interpol save everyone from the aliens. Tamizu's brother, the professor, and the Interpol agent head back into the alien base as the red moon sets. So now the prophecy is coming full circle. It's coming all true. Red moon sets. There's a reflection of the sun that's rising in the west for some reason. So it looks like there's two suns. The full prophecy comes true. King Caesar is awoken after a full song. Oh man, I hate this song. So, as a little kid, I used to always just fast forward through it. The song itself it's not terrible. It just is so dang long. It's like the words get stuck in my throat from War of the Gargantuas. If we could just end that like a good minute and a half to 2 minutes earlier, I'm fine with it. Like, you don't need the full music song. It's not a musical. This is not Beauty and the Beast or anything. You don't need to waste our time on this, but it still happens. It wastes our time on it. Full song happens. Mechagodzilla is slowly trudging his way along, trying to catch up to King Caesar. King Caesar eventually wakes up, and the hype around him does not really live up to anything. Like, King Caesar's okay. He's a cool looking kaiju. He has a great power, but he is defeated so quickly by Mechagodzilla. He gets kicked around quite a bit. So King Caesar and Mechagodzilla have a little battle. The two fight for a while. The ability that I'm talking about, King Caesar has the ability to reflect Mechagodzilla's rainbow eye beams. Great ability. He's awesome whenever he's doing that, but then soon afterward, he's kind of just like, some people say maybe he's overconfident. Maybe that's what he's doing, is like Mechagodzilla will kick him around and he's kind of just screwing with Mechagodzilla because he's like, yeah, I can go all day. I like that explanation a lot more than how it comes across to me when I watch this movie. To me, it seems like he kind of retreats. He's kind of hiding back, peeking over this rock, like, oh, what are you doing? Like, Mechagodzilla's blasting at him and he's freaked out. Some people say he's overconfident. He knows he's going to win, so he's just toying with Mechagodzilla, like hiding behind the rock, playing peekaboo just to screw with him. That's a way better explanation than the way it comes across in the movie. I don't know. I don't think King Caesar really lives up to the hype. I mean, we set him up, scene 3, and then when he shows up, Mechagodzilla literally kicks him through the air quite a few times, and then shoots some rockets at him, and he can't really do anything about it because he can only reflect the rainbow eyes. So when King Caesar starts to lose, or at least it appears he starts to lose, Godzilla emerges from the ocean, emerges from the water. So this is my favorite scene. My other favorite scene as a little kid is there's a great shot when Godzilla's slowly looking over this hill and he's shaking his head back and forth, almost like he's shaking his head no. Like you're on the bottom of this hill and you slowly watch his head rise over the hill after he emerges from the water. It's a great scene and I loved it as a little kid. This Godzilla, first of all, they improved the design from last movie to make him a little bit cooler. I think they changed up the head to make it look a little bit better. So first of all, I like the design in this movie quite a bit. They're gonna make it look a little bit more menacing in the next movie, but in this movie, I just think it's a pretty cool design. It really works for me, and Godzilla's awesome in this end fight. So this crazy fight breaks out. So many explosives. Mechagodzilla has amazing powers, like finger missiles, toe missiles, knee cannons, a chest beam. There's something on he has eye beams, nose beams or something. I'm not sure if his mouth does anything, actually. He has like this little flap that opens up and shoots this red electricity thing. He has so many crazy abilities. He can fly. He's pretty strong, close combat. He has force fields. There's a great scene when he turns on his force field. Godzilla shoots the atomic breath at him, and it hits the force field and has no effect. So Godzilla runs up to attack him, like punch him, and he puts his hands on it, and then it explodes, and Godzilla goes flying. It's a great scene. So Mechagodzilla's got all sorts of crazy abilities, so many explosions. This fight will keep anyone watching this movie entertained. The whole movie's entertaining, like all this kind of intrigue going on with the King Caesar stuff, with the people trying to steal the statue, the space aliens, Mechagodzilla showing up, destroying stuff, Anguirus, King Caesar, Godzilla, all these fights that happen throughout the movie. This movie's going to keep you entertained. It's a great, fun, fast-paced, action-packed movie. I love this movie. So, this amazing balls-to-the-wall fight breaks out. So much blood from Godzilla. Like, his neck's busted open. The blood just goes spraying everywhere. Eventually, Godzilla magnetizes, using that ability that he gains from the lightning for some reason. So he magnetizes, brings Mechagodzilla in real close. King Caesar and Godzilla kind of double team Mechagodzilla really fast before Godzilla breaks Mechagodzilla's head clean off. That's a great way to kill Mechagodzilla, because of what they do with that next movie. Next movie, they take that and then they take it to the next level. It's really awesome, and it also shows some really cool intelligence with Godzilla. And for those of you who are very familiar with Terror of Mechagodzilla, you're going to know what I'm referring to. But for those of you who aren't, I guess just wait for an extra review, and I will definitely be talking about this because it's an awesome scene and a great intelligence from Godzilla here. So Godzilla eventually destroys Mechagodzilla, blows his head up, and then our heroes, who are stuck inside the alien's base, they break out and they blow up the alien base. They kill the leader, although somehow he's still alive next movie. As they're running away from the alien base, everything explodes. Mechagodzilla explodes, turns into shards of metal and nothingness. The alien base explodes. Everyone should be dead. We even our heroes who were in the alien base, they may have died. It's not made clear. Tamizu has the line like, "Oh, don't worry about your father. At the very least, he achieved a victory," or something like that, and it's implied that he died from the explosion. But you do see the professor, Tamizu's brother, as well as the Interpol agent running away from the alien base shortly before it explodes. So I like to think they made it out of there because that's a happier ending, and it doesn't really make sense that they died, I guess. It does, at least to me, it doesn't make sense. Like, we don't know they died, and we saw them running away, and it doesn't really make sense for the story because it's supposed to be a happy ending, but if they die, I guess it's not that happy anyways. So, and the alien, the leader, if he's inside of there and it explodes and he somehow lives, I don't know if they ever explained that in Terror of Mechagodzilla, if it is the same leader or not. Maybe it's his brother or it's his clone or something. I'm going to have to watch that movie again, so if any of you are like, "Hey, you're wrong, idiot," wait for an extra review to say that, and I will clear it up there. But for this movie, at least from what my memory serves me of Terror of Mechagodzilla, the leader somehow lived. Now, if he can live, then I'm going to assume our three running away lived. And I don't think it's explained in the Japanese cut if they make it out of there either. So, everything explodes. That's the end of the movie. Great movie. I love this movie. So, human stuff, it's okay. You know, you're going to be entertained with this whole spy aspect, this whole Interpol versus these aliens, and all this mystery going on. You're going to be entertained with that. The monster stuff is great. The monster stuff's incredible in this movie. Special effects are alright. King Caesar, the special effects are actually, I shouldn't say they're alright. They're pretty dang good. Alright, being honest, they are pretty dang good. Godzilla, he's pretty sweet in this movie. He's kind of just this big gun, which is a little bit disappointing. But I think Godzilla is pretty great in this movie. Mechagodzilla is pretty great in this movie, even though he is a big gun. He is literally a weapon used by the aliens. Anguirus is alright in this movie. He doesn't have much to do, and he gets beat right away. King Caesar is a little bit overhyped, but I still like him regardless. So the monsters are all great in this movie. The story is really fun and entertaining. The music is really different. I mean, it is just, I love the music for this movie. It's very entertaining, very fast-paced, keeps you on track. It's just, it's very fun. This movie is just so much fun. So, overall, what would I rate this movie? Out of 10, this movie's going to get an 8 out of 10. I know that's not like the highest rating I've done in one of these Godzilla-Thons, but dang, I think this movie is really fun. It's super entertaining. When you talk about dumb fun, this is the kind of movie you're talking about. When people claim Kong Skull Island's like dumb fun, that movie is not. That movie's fun. It's not dumb fun. This movie is dumb fun. This is my kind of like gonna pop back, turn on a crazy action movie, and not think about it. So, I don't know. I really like this movie. I would definitely recommend it, especially to first-time Godzilla fans. I would definitely recommend this one. To younger people, I would recommend this. It's a great movie, so go check this one out. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you for my next video, which will be the Terror of Mechagodzilla review. Not saying it'll go up tonight, but I am saying that's going to be the next video I post. Will be the Terror of Mechagodzilla review. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. D-Man, out.